anybody out there use those dating apps? Like, what is there? There's what some of them dating apps we got? We got Tinder. We got, I think there's, is it Honey or Bumble? One's a coupon and another one's a dating app. So Bumble or Honey, I can't remember which one, honestly. And then you got the gay variation. You got Grindr here, okay? And apparently it's a great way to either find another dick to suck or another crotch to lick if that's your jam. Hopefully there's no jam involved because cleanup's already messy enough if you're a lesbian. A lot of blood and black eyes. But at the same time, yeah, you hop on that whole Grindr thing and it looks like, yeah, you can either get a foot long in the sack or one upside your head because you got this dude right here who's using the Grindr app to find people to rape and rob because obviously. Aaron Goodey, 23, from London, made a scheme of meeting men from the gay dating app Grindr. He would rape them and rob them. Listen, if you matched with them, I think they wanted to fuck anyway, so you wouldn't need to rape them. But hey, I guess there's no thrill in just consensual relationships nowadays. He was jailed for 14 years after being found guilty of rape. Yes, let's just say rape 1,000 fucking times, shall we? 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of blackmail. No, he's a blackmail. Oh, no, the crime. Oh, okay, I get it. At Wood Green Court in North London, an investigation was launched after 3 men came forward, trying to keep their butt cheeks together, forward to report being raped. After meeting Goodey via the dating app, it wasn't very goody for them. Then being marched to a cash point where they were threatened with more violence and blackmailed, according to the Metropolitan Police Department. I wonder what his line would be. Forensic evidence from one of the victims. Oh my god, they went in there and they got a swab. CCTV footage and phone data led to the eventual prosecution of Goodey, although he initially denied the charges. Well, he probably just had to go out there and just pick his dick out of a lineup, so it wouldn't have been that difficult. Detective Superintendent Seb Adaji Ado, from the policing team in the North London borough of Enfield, said Aaron Goodey is a dangerous sexual attacker and poses a significant risk to men across London. He gained access to the victims' houses before subjecting them to significant sexual attacks. Please spare us the details, while using and threatening further violence to extort money. But thank God he's been brought to justice. 14 years in jail, where he will be around many other men, where he won't have the opportunity to sexually harass them. I wouldn't imagine so. He looks like a fairly slight gentleman anyway, so good luck in there, my friend. Dating app OKCupid adds pro-choice badge for dating profiles. Yes, so you know the ones that are fine with being squirt up in, so... I wonder if those are going to be like behind a paywall or something. Like, is there going to be a little extra box you can clip? That came out wrong. A little button you can hit. I like the first take better. Following the Texas Heartbeat Act. Oh my god, virtue signaling fucking degeneracy apps. You love to see it. Enacted earlier this month, which has garnered harsh criticism from pro-abortion activists nationwide. Great way of framing that. Dating app OKCupid has announced a pro-choice badge that users can display on their profiles. Stunning and brave. At OKCupid, we support our users' right to choose. Obviously, that's what your fucking platform is founded on. I don't know why you're making a political statement, but you guys do you. Let's see how popular these are. Starting Wednesday of last week. Yeah, I think so. Users can choose to display a pro-life badge in their profile demonstrating their support of reproductive rights. Whatever. The company says it plans to donate $1 per every badge displayed to Planned Parenthood, up to $50,000. Yeah, okay, cool. Hopefully that goes to plenty of new doses of penicillin. Given the new radical Texas law, says a glorified hooker app. Okay. Radical Texas law that essentially bans abortion access. So dumb, but so are the people who use this shit. It's more important than ever to take a stand, and we found that our users want to be able to choose the filter for dates who are pro-choice. They don't fucking care, dude. They just want to get it in, and they just want to fucking match with somebody else on the way out of there. But again, this is just a virtue signal because you take a look at their base and it's like it's overwhelmingly pro-choice. So just by signing up and accepting the terms of service, you're pretty much pro-choice by default, right? They also noted that there has been a 4% increase in saying that Planned Parenthood should not be defunded by the government. That's just nationwide. But today, less than 9% of OKCupid daters who answered the question said they believe the government should defund Planned Parenthood. Not even going as far as saying that abortion should be taken off the table except for in exceptional circumstances. But okay, cool. The company said 88% of their users, or 87% of men and 89% of women, said that they support abortion accesses. So you guys are just preaching to the fucking converted. But again, this kind of ties into the final article that we have here, because it's been fun to dunk on idiots and rapists, mostly because where that guy's going, he's going to get dunked on plenty, and then anybody who has this up there, they're going to get dunked in. So it all just kind of works together. But it reminds me of a podcast that I was listening to earlier in the week. It was Jordan Peterson and the author of this next article. They were discussing luxury beliefs. Okay, things that the elites, right, the upper crust of society, or those who strive and aspire to be a part there, the awfully affluent people who just think by virtue of their birth and their education they're just better than you, but then at the same time they're allowed to hold beliefs such as, oh, we have white privilege, what are we going to do about it? I'll tell you about your white privilege, but us up here, we're doing something about it. And oh, you should have the right to kill your child all the way up to 3 weeks after they're born. Fucking cheerio, good chap. Drop it off on the side of the road if you don't have the stomach for it. Somebody will hopefully run it over for you, so you will not have that little squawking infant. Meanwhile, me and my other two children and my spouse, we will live in our gated community away from you. But yes, please do defund the police. Yo, so this is actually recorded after I recorded the first half of this video. I didn't realize how degenerate OKCupid actually is, so this one's just going to get dropped in the middle, just between the next segment and the OKCupid, oh, I'm so pro-choice shit. And it's like, well, you actually take a look at the advertisements, all of the weird shit that they're doing. Subways in New York City, and one incredibly based Asian woman who just had enough with this fucking propaganda is the best way to put it. OkCupid launches campaign to encourage single New York City commuters to define what matters to them in a potential partner. And look at this shit. Okay, we got 4 pictures there. It really doesn't much matter what the rest of it says. It is okay to choose Mr. Right based on how far he leans left. Nobody wants to fuck anybody on the left, and normally you have to watch your drink around one of those male feminists because you always wake up with just your bra a little bit askew and your fucking underwear on backwards because they're all rapists. It's okay to not date a man who won't vote for a woman. Normally they aren't interested in women anyways. It's okay to be a party line voter and a swing dater. They're not giving you a choice on this. It's like, it's okay to be a party line voter. You know which party we're talking about, and a swing dater, because yeah, you should just worry about just going out there and just fucking spreading your legs for everybody. Just don't worry about anything that matters. Just don't think about anything that the party actually does. Just know you're in good hands. Now just go and, I don't know, collect as many bugs as you want. And then finally, it's with this really just off-putting ad in and of itself, it's okay to choose to date someone who's pro-choice. No shit. It's also fine to date somebody who's also pro-life. It really doesn't matter that much because obviously the talk of children is going to come up at one point or a fucking another. It just doesn't have to be the central issue for your entire fucking relationship, okay? Because if you aren't ready to have kids, you should be taking protective measures if you do want to start fucking around. I don't know. I don't think I'm breaking any new fucking ground here, but that's how people normally live their life. And now we got to do some Twitter reporting because there's more fucking ads that are out there, right? So you have, that's just one, okay? You got this every single pansexual. Then you have this every single non-monogamous, where there's like 1, 2... 3 different people just kind of draped all over one another on a fucking park bench, and just fucking degeneracy. That's about the best way to put it. Or then you have this Old Navy ad. Remember, this is Old Navy, the place that just wants to sell you clothes, and these are all on one fucking car on the New York City subway, okay? And these are paid for and promoted by the fucking government, because this is public transportation. Dear women everywhere, we're starting a fashion revolution. No, you aren't. And would love for you to join us. You're just fucking peddling jeans, you fucking self-important hacks. Or then putting a mask on the Statue of Liberty, even though Bill de Blasio's just kind of hiked her skirt up and fucking stuffed that book in her cunt and put out that torch a long time ago. But I mentioned the incredibly based Asian woman who is tearing down. Just take a look at the couple of ads that are there. Just that absolutely fucked up, whatever it is, the exact words escape me. Every single pansexual. Yeah, every single pansexual, but it's somebody with just, I don't know, a Down syndrome sized tongue just going into somebody else's mouth. And why? But we'll just run this back here real quick, and we don't need any sound, because she's just tearing down these propaganda ads because she's, like it says here, unbelievably based. She's like, obviously this shit is fucking retarded, and everybody's like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. So continues, and she also takes down the fucking Old Navy ads. It's like bought equality. It's like, no, a lot of places still charge extra for the triples and quadruple XL t-shirts. So let's just not say everybody is equal. But I just came across this kind of stuff, so we're just gonna go back to the video right now. Okay. That sounds like a wonderful idea. We'll just have our private security. We're allowed to afford this type of stuff because we're better than you, and you know it. That's the type of beliefs that Peterson and Rob Henderson were discussing, in fact, and I found this very, very interesting. And then I seen those other couple of articles pop up as well, and it's those people who would frequent those dating apps, okay, because they don't have any, happiness in their own life, so they need to try to find other equally damaged people, but instead of, trying to create a hole, it's just, well, somebody's trying to stuff a hole. They're just two fucking damaged people. They never really accomplish anything because they're always just trying to out-virtue signal each other. Oh, I'm pro-choice. Yeah, well, I think that feminism is the future, and I'm definitely not a date rapist. And it's like, they're just a bigger and more pronounced version of luxury beliefs. Now, this article is a couple years old at this point, August 17th, 2019, sorry. I had to go back to the previous decade in order to pick it up, but Rob made mention to this on the podcast between him and Dr. Peterson. I thought it'd be interesting to go through because, well, I found it interesting, and if nobody else does, well, you've already clicked off the video anyways. A former classmate from Yale recently told me monogamy is kind of outdated. You know why we started off with those dating app gimmicks, and not good for society. I don't know why anybody would believe that. So I asked her, oh, okay, she's just trying to fuck, the most successful men that are out there, but jokes on her, they're already taken for and spoken, hence why her opinion that polyamory is the future is this fucking smart way to go, except for you look at every other nation that has been successful throughout history, and its downfall, if they achieved the polyamory point, has led to their very quick and rapid her decline in society. I'm just saying. So I asked her what her background is and if she planned to marry. She said she comes from an affluent family, no shit, and works as a well-known technology company. Yup, well-to-do, baby. Yes, she personally intends to have a monogamous marriage, but I think it's outdated and it's for everybody else. It's for the unclean out there. I will go ahead and get married and have my big, wonderful wedding. Fuck off. But quickly added that marriage shouldn't have to be for everyone. Yeah, we don't live in the Middle East where you get sold off at like 13 fucking years old to be a child bride. I think you're onto something, but once again, you're missing the fucking mark. She was raised by a traditional family. They always are. Because the wild ones that are poor, yeah, they come from the broken homes, but I'm not going to shit on those I love. She planned on having a traditional family. Of course she did. But she maintained that traditional families are old-fashioned and society should evolve beyond them. They probably should, right? Now just shut up and get back into the kitchen and rattle some pots and pans. What could explain this? Well, in the past, upper-class Americans used to display their social status with luxury goods. Today, they do it with luxury beliefs. And especially when you're locked away for 18, 19 months at this point and you've acquired all this wealth and all of these fucking knickknacks, you have nobody to show them off to. So guess what? You can just hop on Twitter, hop on Instagram, and just show the world how great you are without having to do anything. And you can just reap all of the benefits of being one of the good helpers out there, one of the allies. People care a lot about social status. In fact, research indicates that respect and admiration from our peers are even more important than money or our sense of well-being. I couldn't imagine living life like that, but I understand. We really pressure to display. I guess I kind of do that with the YouTube because I put out the videos and I hope people watch them. They don't really, but I'm glad you guys do. In hopes that somebody, watches them and I eventually get a break one day, because that would be fucking nice instead of just wasting an entire year of my life and having an existential crisis by just answering this paragraph. Anyways, we should probably get back on track because now I'm starting to feel bad about myself. We feel pressure, not really, to display our status in new ways. This is a fashionable clothing, always changes. Not over the past 20 years, but okay. But as trendy clothes, and other products become more accessible and affordable, there is increasingly less status attached to luxury goods. Yeah, exactly. I have a couple of theories as to why that changed. But again, we touched on racism in a previous segment. The upper class have found a clever solution to this problem: luxury beliefs. Now, what are those, Rob? These are ideas and opinions that confer status on the rich at very little cost while taking a toll on the lower class. Of course, one example of luxury beliefs is that that all family structures are equal. You're retarded. This is not true. That is fact. Evidence is clear that families with two married parents are most beneficial for young children. There it is. Obviously, I don't think you need to cite your source on that one. The science is pretty well settled on that. We're talking actual studies, not the science trademark. And yet, affluent, educated people raised by two parents are more likely than others to believe monogamy is outdated, marriage is a sham. Okay, we can kind of find common ground there. Or that all families are the same. Relaxed attitudes about marriage trickle down to the working class and the poor. In the 1960s, marriage rates between upper class and lower class Americans were nearly identical. But during this time, affluent Americans loosened social norms. In the fucking 60s. Expressing skepticism about marriage and monogamy, almost by design, but that's another topic for another day. The luxury belief continued to be the erosion of the family. Today, the marriage rates in affluent America are nearly the same as they were in the 1960s. Holy fuck, go figure. But working class people are far less likely to get married. Furthermore, out of wedlock birth rates are more than 10 times higher than they were in the 60s. Yup, mostly among poor and working class. Affluent people seldomly have kids out of wedlock because they know the system and how to rig it in their favor. Rig with an R. But are more likely than others to express the luxury belief that doing so is of no consequence because you're a strong, independent woman and you don't need no man. Now get this piece of trash out of my sight. Other luxury belief is that religion is irrational or harmful. Boy, we just went over that not that long ago. And like I said, the structure of the church, sometimes it can be pretty corrupt. But when it comes to the teachings and the beliefs of religion, I don't think you're going to find a better guidepost for your life. But hey, again, I don't identify with the rich and the powerful, mostly because I'm not rich. I don't have a lot of power, but then at the same time, I know a good policy that has sustained humanity throughout history. And I figured I could probably adopt it to be equally as successful and also equally as powerful. Just give it enough time and enough effort. At least that's what I tell myself. Places of worship are often essential for the social fabric of poor communities. Denigrating the importance of religion harms the poor, while affluent people often find meaning in their work. Most Americans do not have the luxury of a profession. They have jobs. That is true. They clock in, they clock out, and then they hop on Tinder, hoping to cock in, cock out, without a family or community to care for, such as a job, can feel meaningless. Very much so, very much so. White privilege is a luxury belief that took me the longest to understand. Oh, this dude's Asian, by the way. Okay, you can kind of tell because he's going to Yale and now he's in Oxford, but whatever. Is a luxury belief that took me the longest to understand because I grew up around poor whites. Yeah, very much so. So did I. Grew up most of my life as a poor white. And you take a look at my bank account, and I'm very much a poor white. Often members of the upper class claim that racial disparities stem from inherent advantages held by whites. Yet Asian Americans are more educated, have higher earnings, and live longer than whites. Affluent whites are the most enthusiastic about the idea of white privilege, yet they are the least likely to incur any costs of promoting that belief. Oh, no, you don't say. Rather, they raise their social standing by talking about their privilege. Yes, talk about something that you can't do anything about and that you have no chance of ever fixing or rectifying. Like, I don't even know what the proposed solutions to white privilege are, mostly because I think all of that is just gobbledygook you can throw into the same campfire as like Wiccan and all that kind of weird shit. It's just another new age, well, as Rob calls them, luxury beliefs. Shit that's been around forever. You remember you probably had a goofy aunt who used to collect fucking crystals or some dumb shit. Now it's just manifest in the way of self-reporting their own hatred, but then doing exactly the opposite and just having no cognitive connection to the things that they're doing as opposed to the things that they're saying. Cognitive dissonance, as it were. In other words, upper-class whites gain status by talking about their high status. While laws are enacted to combat white privilege, it won't be the privileged whites who are harmed. Poor whites will bear the brunt. It is possible that affluent whites don't always agree with their own luxury beliefs. It's very often the case, in fact, or at least have doubts. Maybe they don't like the ideological fur coat they're wearing, that their peers punish them for not sporting it all over town. You see that whenever somebody, normally on the left, steps out just a little bit, boy, do they get attacked and either forced back into the group and then have to double down on their beliefs, or they just realize that, oh my God, I've been one of the baddies all this time. How many people have we seen cross the line doing that? Because, like with diamond rings or designer clothes of old, upper class people don a luxury belief to separate themselves from the lower class. These beliefs in turn produce real, tangible consequences for disadvantaged people, further widening the divide. Just as fashionable clothing will soon be outdated, so will today's fashionable beliefs. He didn't even once mention the fact that defund the police is in there. White supremacy, I don't know, is that kind of usurped white privilege at this point? Something goofy like that. With some of them other luxury beliefs we got in today's society. We got reparations, we got progressivism, we got literally wearing kente cloths in the Capitol building and taking a knee. Like all this other fucking dumb shit. And yeah, it was outdated when it happened. And even now, it's starting to brew and continue to be different. Don't believe me? Just ask anybody who literally looks like they'd be on the side of holding some of these luxury beliefs. When, how, and which vaccine they got. They'll tell you, and they'll tell you that you're a son of a bitch if you're unvaccinated, or even if you know somebody who's vaccinated, because we're all in this together, and I did my part, therefore you have to get on your mask and stand 6 feet away from me. So your shit isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm glad somebody pointed it out, wrote it in such a concise article, and has the platform to speak about it, because you got to identify the problems that you see, and you have to be able to put a name to them, and then you have to be able to defeat them. Eventually, they're just going to tire themselves out, and enough people are just going to continue to move on, and hopefully that group gets smaller and smaller and smaller as more insane things come about. That's the best we can hope for at this point, and on this Sunday, I shall leave you with that. Enjoy the rest of your glorious day whenever you find yourself, if you're having dinner at this point, or if you're just batch watching all the content the Monday morning, because I don't know, sometimes the views on Sundays are up, sometimes they're down, sometimes they're in the middle, but more often than not, I just wish you having a great day whenever you do come across this. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.